Hello everybody, my name is Mina and today's class is all going to be about balancing out yin and yang. So yin-yang flows or yang to yin flows are quite popular these days, and they're wonderful because we can combine the more active vinyasa style classes with the more cool and meditative yin style practice. Today's video, however, we're going to focus on really kind of finding the yin in the yang and the yang in the yin. So trying to weave the differences and see the similarities between these different styles of practices, and therefore kind of bridge over this extreme duality of what is active and what is passive, what is masculine, what is feminine, what is light and what is dark. Because in the more modern types of yoga, towards tantric yoga, it's about overcoming this duality. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that, but we'll start in a child's pose. So I have 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket, just in case. You can come on to kneeling and then either widen your knees or keep them quite close together. You can always place a blanket underneath the knees if you feel that you need a little bit of support. And then you can come down, either release the forehead down, arms forward, backwards. It doesn't really matter. We'll stay here quite a while. So we'll start a little bit more yin. I'm going to place the palms on top of one another so I can rest my forehead. And then maybe taking a few breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just so you can start to arrive on your mat. Allow your body to soften. If there's any unnecessary tension in your shoulders, it can release. And starting to become a little bit more aware of your breath here. As you invite deep breaths in through your nose. And back out through the nose. And I always like to focus a little bit on the breath here as we breathe. Especially at the beginning of the class. You know, a lot of us sitting, standing all day, there's kind of a tightness or shortness through the lower back. So taking a few breaths in, especially to widen that area of the body. And with every exhale, you can allow something to seep into the floor that you don't want to carry with you into the practice. Good. And as we arrive and soften here in child's pose, maybe the quintessential yin pose, you can start to also warm your breath a little bit. So perhaps coming into some ujjayi breathing. So that the breath is warm while the body is soft and maybe a little bit cold. Good. So in yin and yang yoga, and the way we perceive it quite often within the modern context of yoga, yin is the feminine, the dark, the cold, the passive, and yang is the masculine principle of warmth or light, action, movement. And these terms come from Taoism. However, there are different tribes all over the world where the feminine, for example, is associated with light and action. For example, also in the Japanese mythology, Amaterasu Omikami, so she's the sun goddess. And there are also different other tribes and societies in which this principle of feminine and masculine is actually reversed. So just letting that sink in. And it's not about what's right or wrong. I'm not
don't have an agenda to reassign gender roles or anything. That's not my point at all today. My point is just so we can find a little bit of softness in viewing these terms and viewing this duality that lies behind the way of assigning sort of characteristics with the term, labeling things. That's what yoga is about. It's just observing, softening that view, and allowing space for things to react and move differently. Good, let's take another deep breath in. And a deep breath out before we get moving just a little bit. You can slowly lift your gaze and replace your hands. And slowly come on to hands and knees. You can just take a few circles here, just arrive on all fours, spreading the fingers. Big circles, or perhaps really small ones. Just to bring some awareness into the hands and the knees. Maybe your hips need a little bit of loosening after staying in child's pose for a little longer. And let's do a few cat-cow just to get some circulation going. Inhale to open the heart. And exhale to round. You can start to move really gently. Moving the breath deeply into the lungs. It's taking stock of what your body feels like in this moment. Maybe it's morning, it's pretty stiff, or it's in the evening, you're already quite tired. Good. Let's take a last round here. Good. And we'll continue quite yin. So we'll start with pigeon pose. Cold, actually. So bringing the right shin forward. And as always, you can place something underneath the hips if you like. Another right one in this case. Maybe it needs to be a higher bolster. I'm going to walk my left knee back. And just come down here for a moment. So pigeon pose, we're gently opening through the right hip. And always with these yin postures, when we go in quite cold, make sure that it's approachable. It doesn't have to be the deepest variation of this posture that you've ever known. We're just starting to get in contact with those different layers of fascia. Maybe you like to place a block underneath your forehead so you can drop the weight of your neck. The neck has to carry your heavy, heavy head all day. So creating pockets where you can release this weight. You can also stack your fists. Might do that today. Good. And as you breathe into your hips here, observing that there's still a sense of activity here to stay in this posture. Maybe if you let go fully, you would have to fall to one side or the other. And although you might be quite passive in observing with your breath, there's still movement through the breath. Good. You can stay here in this variation today. I invite you to place your left hand in like a sphinx variation onto the floor, and the right hand can come on to the side. So maybe fingertips are coming into a little bit of a twist here. You can also place the right hand onto the hip and come into a little bit of a twist. So it's still quite passive. We're still on the floor, but it's just a little bit of action. Twists can be a little bit heating. I'm feeling some massaging of the belly. Good. And maybe 3 more deep breaths here. Not the longest day. Wonderful. And then slowly coming back to center.
And we'll come straight back onto hands. And then we'll actually swing the left leg around. So you can come into Gomukhasana, cow face pose, so stacking the left knee also onto the right. If that's too much, you can also come into the seated twist without going into a twist. So this might be enough for your outer hips. If you really want to cross the knees on top of one another, you can go for that as well. Okay, once you're here, of course, you can also place a blanket underneath the hips so that you feel the outer hips nice and long. We're just going to hang out here again. So we're starting nice and slow, feeling into the outer hips, feeling into the pelvic area, tuning into the body. So this yin, or the yin qualities of darkness and coldness, the occult, or that which is hidden, being associated with the feminine, also is really representative of most societies on the planet, in which the feminine has kind of been repressed towards the night, which is not a bad thing. There's definitely female qualities of that. Just to notice, however, that that is the case. We are not nocturnal animals. We're active through the day. So just observing what that awakens within you, and what if you associated the feminine with the day or the active. You can stay here. If you like to move into Gomukhasana arms as well, you can reach your right arm up and bend the elbow. You can stay here. You can reach your left arm out to the side, palm facing back, and then either reaching for your fingertips, or you can always grab a strap to create some space through the sides of the body, through the shoulders as well. And again, hanging here as you just follow your breath. Perhaps you'd like to bend a little bit over towards the left. So this is sort of yin practice, but it's still somewhat active, or there's some changes in postures that you can invite into. Now, there's no black and white in how to practice this. And taking a few more deep breaths into your right ribs as you try to keep both sit bones well grounded. Good. And then slowly coming back up. Release the strap or your bind, kicking the legs out in front and just letting them shake out a bit. And then we'll make our way back onto all fours to continue from there. Maybe another round of cat and cow just to release. Inhale to open, exhale to round. Good, and let's go through the other side. So this time, bringing the left shin forward, pigeon on the second side. You can walk your right knee back. You can always place a little blanket underneath the left hip. I'm just going to move it out to side because I don't need it today. And you can always stay up or start to fold forward a little bit. See if you want to release your forehead onto a block, perhaps. I'm going to release them onto my stacked fists. And then softening into the shape, seeing which muscles are not necessarily necessarily need to be turned on. And as you're here, softening into the shape, noticing if you have a preference for night and day.
we have a preference for summer, winter. Now I'm here in Europe, and we're moving towards 1st of February, which is one of the 8 pagan punctuations within the year. And it's a time when the light is slowly starting to come back. So we're out of the dead of the winter and slowly moving towards not really spring yet, but you can feel that the days are getting longer. You can start to switch this variation if you want to. So coming into the Sphinx arm on the right side, left fingertips can just push up, starting to invite a little bit of a twist into the mid and upper back. You can also place this hand onto the thigh or bring your left hand onto the hip to more actively twist. Good. Head can be nice and soft, relaxed. Good. And as the days get longer, there's definitely part of me that's like, thank goodness. At the same time, I try to invite a softness around that judgment or this feeling. And so appreciating winter, the dark and the cold, because we need both. The nature is super smart. The earth and the planetary systems, everything, how it's kind of fallen into place. And so I always try to invoke all around all of that as we move through the seasons. Let's take another deep breath in and out. Good. I'm going to place both hands onto the floor, lift my upper body up, and then I'm going to come onto my left hip. So if you had a blanket, you can take it out and then swing the right leg around. So option 1 is to come into the legs of a seated twist. You can place the right foot to the outside. If you want to stack the knees to come more into Gomukhasana legs, you can do that. Stacking the knees, placing the feet out a little. I need to place a little blanket underneath the hips to feel that my hips can ground a little bit more evenly. I'll just start hanging out here. Checking if there's something I can let go, maybe my shoulders. Feeling into the outer hips. So it's nice to give some tactile feedback to your body. And as I soften here, perhaps just contemplating these different sides that Mother Earth shows us through the winter, the summer, the night and day. And that all sides are necessary and in balance. And in some ways, we're actually just equal. Good. If you want, you can also go bind your arms. Perhaps starting with lifting your left arm up, bending at the elbow. And if you like, you can reach your right arm up, palm back, and then maybe finding your fingertips or a strap to bind. If you're taking a strap, you can just grab the strap in your top hand and then find the strap somewhere where it feels good. And again, just resting here, staying upright. Or this time, if you like, you can bend up and over towards the right side. Create a little bit more space through the left side of the body. And see where along this spectrum of yin and yang, again, it's not opposites, but it's all spectrums and different depths of these variations and characteristics that life shows itself through.
You can make it quite soft, or you can start to deepen your breath a little bit, expanding through your left lung. And as you exhale again, softening into the spine. Let's take one more breath here on this side. Good, and then you can slowly come up. Release the strap. And we'll just kick the legs to the front, shake it out. Good. Nice. And once again, you can come back onto all fours. And we'll come all the way onto our bellies for a moment. Into a Sphinx pose. To open up through the spine as well. Maybe shaking your hips a little bit side to side. In this variation, my hands are together, so I'm on my elbows. Elbows more or less underneath the shoulders or a little bit further forward for a softer back bend. And I'm just shaking my hips a little bit to invite some fluidity into the pelvis, allowing the lower back to release. Good, you can just stay here and activate the legs, press the pubic bone into the floor. If you like, you can make it a little bit more active by inhale, pressing the hands into one another, lifting a little. And exhale, slowly releasing the elbows back down. So we're starting to get a little bit more yang. Inhale, pressing the hands. And exhale. Good, and I'm using these inhales to lengthen the spine, pressing the feet, pulling the hands back, and exhale back down. Last round, inhale. And as I exhale, I'm pulling my elbows back, reaching my heart forward. Good, take another breath in here. And as you exhale, we're gonna come into a little twist. I don't know how much room I have here. I'm going to extend the right arm forward and then roll on to the back. Good, I'm just gonna reach my left arm out. That's also perfectly fine. Softens this twist. You can also bring this arm into cactus. You have more room. I'm actually gonna wiggle forward a little bit so I have just a little bit more room to open up through my chest. So we twisted before in pigeon. It's a little bit deeper. A different relationship to gravity. Then I'm just using this expansion and contraction. Again, yin and yang. Expansion mostly associated with yang. Contraction associated with yin. To wiggle myself into shape. Last deep breath in. Last deep breath out. Good, I'm gonna slowly come back. Swing my left arm around. And to Sphinx pose, I'm gonna wiggle a little bit over towards the right, so I have room to this time extend the left arm forward and then roll onto my back again, my right arm in cactus. My right knee's just hanging, it doesn't have to stay on the floor. And you can even do such micro movements as inhale, reaching the knee towards the floor. Exhale, reaching the elbow towards the floor, just like a little bit of wiggling. Good. Balancing out the active and the passive to just flow with this shape, this practice, and with life. Good, let's take a last breath here. All the way into the ribs and out. Okay, let's slowly come back. Bring both elbows back down. Good. And then pressing back into child's pose for a moment. Good. And from here we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So if down dog for some reason is just too much for you, you can always come into puppy pose. Otherwise, starting to lift the hips up and back, maybe walking, bending one knee at a time, maybe swiveling the hips slightly. I always like to check in with my head, see if it's trying to be stubborn. Good. From here, we'll come rolling into a plank position. Inhale onto the tippy toes, forward to plank. And exhale back to downward facing dog. We'll do this a few times. Inhale forward to plank. Again, you can always come onto hands and knees. Exhale back to down dog. 2 more times. Inhale. Allowing the wave to come. And then recede. Last one, inhale into plank. And this time staying here. Good. And this is the first hold or stay in a stronger posture, normally associated with a yang practice. And just noticing that there's stillness also within an active practice. The little black dot within the white side that is yang. Take another breath in. And then exhale as lower knees, chest, and chin. And this time we'll come into a little bigger cobra. Good. You can keep it nice and small, or you can make it a little bit bigger if you feel ready to soften. Keeping the elbows nice and bent. The creases of the elbows looking forward. And a nice long neck. Good. Take another breath in. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. Coming into a 3-legged down dog, I'm going to lift my right leg up. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. Left knee can be slightly bent so you can really receive the earth. Toes pointing down. And I'm mostly working on the awareness of my hips, trying to keep them level. If at any point this feels too much, you can come into a bird dog with your right foot lifted. Otherwise, taking another deep breath here in 3-legged. And exhale down. Taking this time to really connect to the hands, left side. Inhale, lifting the left leg up. And as you exhale, keep on growing through your arms like you're trying to kick out through the left heel. Again, toes pointing down. You're always welcome to come into a bird dog. Head relaxed. Take another breath in to lengthen. And exhale, both heels back down towards the floor, both feet. And we'll start to walk forward into a forward fold, taking as many steps as you need to come into your first Uttanasana. I'm going to keep it hip width to begin with. You can soften your knees. And allow the upper body to drape. Saying hi to your back body, saying hi to your lower back. Good. And then taking a halfway lift as you inhale, bringing the hands onto the shins. You can always place blocks underneath your hands. Exhale to fold. A few more times. Inhale. Receiving the earth to open up through the heart. And then exhale, allowing your upper body to fold. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Good, and I like to roll up for the first round, bending the knees, rounding the back, tailbone reaches down, slowly rolling up. Good, and as you exhale, just softening here, grounding through the feet, hands into heart. And we'll take a few sun salutations, obviously, associated with yang, the light, the activity. Maybe setting an intention here for yourself today. When you're ready, inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. And exhale, hinge at the hips to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, creating space. And as you exhale, let's step the left foot all the way back. Inhale, coming into plank. And as you exhale, lowering knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, sliding through into a cobra or an upward facing dog. And as you exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Right away, inhale, lifting the left leg up towards the sky. And exhale, step it all the way through into a lunge. Inhale here, lengthen, reach your right heel back. And exhale, step your right foot to the top. Inhale, press into the feet, coming all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Other side, inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale to hinge at the hips to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening the heart forward. And as you exhale, ground your hand and step your right foot all the way back. Good. As you inhale into a plank position and exhale to fold. Inhale into heart opener, cobra or up dog. And exhale back to your downward facing dog. Good. Right away, inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky. And exhale, stepping it all the way through. Inhale, take another breath here. Reach your heel back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into the feet, coming all the way back up. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's go for one more round. Left and right. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold, uniting with the movement. Inhale to lengthen, open the heart. And exhale to step the left foot all the way back. Inhale to come into a plank position. And exhale, lower knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or an upward facing dog. And exhale back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left leg up from the inner heel. Exhale, stepping it all the way through. Take another breath here, reach back, reach forward through the heart. Exhale, stepping forward into your forward fold. Inhale, press into the feet, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart, last side. Inhale, moving with the breath. Exhale, breath starts and then movement rides on the back of the breath. Inhale to lift the heart, pulling energy up through the feet. And then exhale, step your right foot all the way back to come into a lunge. Inhale, meeting left foot with right foot into plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, open the heart, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale. And exhale, right foot steps all the way through. Take another breath here as you inhale, creating space between the joints. And exhale, stepping your left foot to the top of the mat for your forward fold. Inhale, press into the feet, come all the way up. Exhale, hands into heart. And just taking a moment here to notice maybe your energy is a little bit up. Maybe your pulse is up. Maybe your breath is a little faster. So widen the feet a little bit more. Come into a forward fold as you inhale, reach arms out and up. And as you exhale, option to interlace the hands behind the back and relax through the neck. Okay. You can soften through the knees here. Pull your belly in and up to allow the hands to move forward and down. Good. Noticing that this is an inversion. Upper body has inverted. Maybe you like to invite tiny twists into your upper back to wiggle your shoulder a little bit more open. Good. And then take another deep breath in. And as you exhale out, you can release the arms. Inhale, let's come into a chair pose, bending the knees. Good. And then shift the weight into the left knee so you can come onto your right toes. You can either stay here with your toes down. You can also cross the foot across, toes still down, or you can come into any eagle variation with your arms for a little bit of balancing. Good. You can keep the arms here, or swing the left arm under right arm. Hug is an option, or bringing the fingertips into one another. Good. And then again, so eagle, father, sky, really active, really yang posture, and see if you can invite softness and stillness into this. Take another deep breath in, deep breath out. Good, let's release the arms, release the legs, coming back into this chair position, and then inhale. Extend through the legs. Exhale, just fold forward for a moment. We're just going to take a half sun salutation in between. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale to fold. Good. Inhale back into chair, bending both knees. Feeling the strength. And then starting to shift the weight into the right foot. Maybe just left tippy toes. This could be your pose. You could cross and still keep the toes down on the ground. Or also lift the foot. If you can double bind, go for it. And then either right arm under just to give yourself a hug, or double bind for eagle arms. Good. And then finding that space through the back of the heart. Softening through your gaze. And finding deep connection to earth even as you're soaring through the sky. Take another deep breath in. And deep breath out. Wonderful. Let's release the arms. Come back into chair pose. Feet a little bit wider today. And then let's take it into a forward fold. As you exhale, maybe like to sway a little bit. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, you can ground your hands. You can skip your vinyasa. We'll meet in a downward facing dog. If you want to move through a vinyasa, you can lower. As you exhale, inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale for your downward facing dog. Okay, let's inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky. And as you exhale, we're going to step it all the way through for warrior two. So grounding through your left heel. And then opening up into your warrior two. We're going to take reverse today with the upper arm bent. And the left hand can wrap around. You can either find your shirt, your leggings, or whatever you're wearing, or the inner thigh. I'm going to create a little bit more space here. So the legs are nice and strong, but the upper body and the arms are sort of intertwined softly so that you can gently lend more space through the side of your body as you breathe. Taking another deep breath in. And deep breath out. Good. Inhale. Extend through the legs. Reach the arms out. And as you exhale into your triangle pose. Left fingertips can reach up. Or as you exhale, reaching them up above the head. Good. Again, you can stay here. Or perhaps reach your right fingertips in the opposite direction. So top hand reaching forward. Lower hand reaching backwards. Good, and finding this yin and yang, forwards and backwards, duality, and then uniting it in your center. Take another deep breath in. And out, good. Let's inhale, reverse, windmilling the arms. And as you exhale, you can point your right toes in, lengthen the arm, reach up. And as you exhale, bringing the right hand down towards the ground. You can always place a block underneath. And from there, starting to reach your left fingertips up towards the sky. Good. Hand can be flat, on block, on fingertips. Good. Can stay here or find a bind also with this top arm. And then use this arm to peel your left shoulder back. Good. Take another deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Good. Release the spine, both hands down towards the floor. Take another inhale, gaze forward. And as you exhale, simply folding forward. Your knees can be soft, hands can go anywhere you want. Releasing through the crown of the head for a moment. Good. Inhale to halfway lift. And as you exhale, you can start to bend side to side. So as you bend, exhale, inhale, coming to the center. Good. You can go at your own pace. You can stay nice and high, starting to feel into your inner thighs. Or if you feel good, you can also start to turn your toes out a little bit and go a little bit further down. And see where this movement takes you. There's a nice swing side to side that starts to happen. Feels quite feminine, flowy, although your legs have to be really strong. Good. And then slowly, next time your right knee is bent, staying there for a moment. Again, you can be up here, no problem. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart for a moment. Reaching your knees, your thighs in opposite directions. And from here, we're going to ground the left hand and start to open into an open twist towards the right. Good. You can always lower the back knee, make it a little bit softer. You can keep your back knee up if you like. Good. So if your back knee's up, start to wiggle your right foot towards the center of the mat. Come on to the outer edge side, plank here. You can stay here. You can also stack the feet, find a variation. If your knee was down, you can also stay here. Extend the leg backwards. You can lift the heel. So find your variation that works for you. Either way, creating this sense of length and stability through the side of your body. Take another breath in. Good, and then exhale, both hands down. Moving through your vinyasa or simply skipping. And come into child's pose and rest there for a moment. Good. Wonderful. Taking one more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And we'll move through the other side. This time lifting your left leg up towards the sky to prepare. And then exhale, stepping your left foot all the way through, grounding your right heel, and then windmilling your arms into warrior two. I'm going to turn around so I'm not facing you with my back. Okay, so we're going to take the reverse variation. So I'm going to lift your left fingertips up as you inhale. And you can bend the top arm, grab hold of the back of the skull. The right hand can be behind, grabbing your shirt or your inner thigh. We're going to lean up and back. And find balance between allowing this pose to just unfold through gravity and resisting gravity through the strength of the legs. Breath continues to flow deeply. Last deep breath in and out. Good. Let's inhale, straighten the legs. Reach the arms out to the side. And as you exhale, coming into your triangle pose. Good. Take another breath in here, lengthen. And exhale, right fingertips can reach above the head. So we have nice length through the entire right side. Completely optional, but you can reach your left fingertips backwards. I have the sense forwards and backwards. Left foot also presses into the floor. Right heel presses into the floor. Good. Take another breath in and out. Good. Let's inhale to come up. Left fingertips up. Both toes facing the right side of the room. And then exhale. Left fingertips towards the floor onto a block optionally. And then right fingertips reach up. Good. Take another breath here. Exhale, option to reach behind, grab hold of your shirt again or your inner thigh. Good. And the spine can really help you to again start to turn your top shoulder blade, back and down. Maybe the gaze goes up. Last deep breath in. And as you exhale out, you can release both hands down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, again, you can simply bring the hands down to the inside, or you can go for big toe bind, halfway lift. And as you exhale, fold, letting the head hang, shake. Good. And finding softness in these more active postures. Wonderful. Inhale, halfway lift. And then as you exhale, both hands onto the floor. And we'll start to bend side to side again. Again, your hands can also be on blocks. Inner thighs can be part of our body that can get quite short and quite intense to sort of peel open again over time. So be mindful. And it's always nice to think of tight parts as being stable. And they're doing their own best to keep you grounded, connected to the ground. Okay, next time your left knee is bent, you're going to stay there. Again, for those who want to go deeper, go for it. You can stay here, bring your hands together in front of one another. Good, and then we're going to come back to the top of the mat again. Right hand presses into the floor and spin your left fingertips up towards the sky this time. Keep on reaching through your back heel. You can start to wiggle your left foot down towards the center. Again, your right knee can be bent. I'm just going to demo this time this way. You can stay here. This is side plank variation. This is a side plank variation. This is a side plank variation. For those of you who want to come into full side plank, you probably know what you're doing. Keep on reaching it out. Good, last deep breath in. And out. Good, grounding both hands, both knees, moving through your vinyasa if you would like to. Or you can simply skip it and come into a child's pose. I like to sometimes turn my palms up so I can still be receptive in child's pose as opposed to shutting down. Using this moment to let the body know that you're one with the earth and we're not disconnected. And we can recharge by breathing deeply, by emptying the brain and kind of downloading the brain into the floor. Great, and then you can slowly lift your gaze. We'll do a few back bends here, coming into camel pose or camel pose preparation. You can always place a little blanket underneath the knees. And we'll start by tucking the toes under. We'll start fluidly, so I'm going to bring my left hand onto my calf or my ankle and then reach the right fingertips up. Exhale to center, kind of drawing a semicircle through the crown of the head, pushing the hips forward. Inhale, center. Exhale into a camel variation, and you can make it nice and small, or you can go quite deep. See what your back is ready for. And you can always imagine like hugging a block in between the thighs. So this, as much as we open up towards the sky through the heart, the foundation and the grounding through the legs is right there. Okay. Maybe one more round. I think I reversed the breath. It's also perfectly fine. Good. And then you can untuck your toes. You can simply sit on your heels. If that's not good for you, you can always sit on a block or a bolster. And just chilling. Being in awe that you can move, that you can breathe, you can make these shapes. And then we'll go in for a second round. You can repeat that if that felt good. Or you can come into more of a classic camel preparation or camel, tucking the toes under, bringing the hands into heart. And again, you don't have to do this when I'm demo with the block in between the thighs. So that there's this awareness of really hugging in through the center. So we can start to shoot the heart up. You can simply stay here. You can stay with the hands onto the lower back. Starting to move the elbows together so that there's a sense of peeling the shoulder blades in through the heart. And again, if you start to lean back, still the same lift, and you feel that the heels feel pretty close, you can go grab your heels. Good, still hugging the block or an imaginary block. You can also drop your head. Taking a few breaths. And then when you come out, head comes up last. And then you can again sit down, block, simply on your heels. Beautiful. That was the last more classically yang posture, although there is yin camel holds, which are quite intense. We're going to start countering this back bend by twisting and calming the nervous system at the same time. So you can stroke your thighs. One hand goes forward, one hand kind of pulls back towards the hips. And that automatically gives you a little twist. You can also press with your hand against the inner thigh to give a little bit more leverage. Nice. And then you can come onto all fours. And we'll take an inhale here, straight spine. As you exhale, you can tuck the toes under and really round. Good. You can simply stay here. Just imagine that your knees are lifting off or just lifting them off just for a moment. And once you're there, you can really start to move your forehead, your pubic bone towards one another. Create space to the back. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, knees come down, moving into a child's pose. And we'll finish with 2 more yin postures. When you're ready, you can start to lift up. Bring the blocks out in front. And we're going to come into Paschimottanasana. So a seated forward fold. We're going to hold it for a little longer. Since we're doing it yin style, you can also place a bolster on your belly. I don't have one in a grabbable distance to really soften here. Your knees can be bent. And your feet don't have to be fully active and together. Another option to release the forehead is by placing some blocks underneath your forehead. So you can be nice and round. You can let the feet go. And see how deeply you want to go into this posture. Moving towards a softer breath. A breath that perhaps has a little less sound to it. And checking in with your intention in your jaw. neck. And paying attention to the more yin tissues within your body, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons. It's not so much that we want to stretch them out, it's that we want to address them, create some compression, so that when we relieve this compression, they can rehydrate. So allowing a little bit of fluidity into those more dark and brittle aspects and tissues of our bodies. And as I'm lying here thinking of very beautiful, clear, dark night skies, they're so full of wonder. I mean, during the day we can only, quote unquote, only see the sky, the clouds, beautiful blue. But at night we can connect with the universe, if the skies are clear, of course. The moon and the beautiful stars, and if we're lucky, even our galaxy. If we're lucky, even some planets in our solar system. So at night, the sky opens up so we can reach further with our awareness. Yeah, let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Perhaps reawakening the body a little bit through warmer breaths, aware breaths. And then you can slowly come out. Ooh. Take your time to circle your ankles. And then shake it out. Go into a similar posture, this time wide-legged. Move a little bit over here so my leg stays on camera, hopefully. Again, you can simply stay up here. Maybe this is where you feel enough compression. Maybe there's a little bit of a fold forward. Again, your knees can be bent. Your feet can splay out inward wherever they want to go. And inviting those sensations into the body that only awaken after some stillness. Parts of your intuition. Subtleties of your breath. Subtleties of sensations within your body that normally stay dormant underneath the more obvious sensations.
Maybe also noticing brightness and light, warmth, as you stay in this very typical yin posture. Weaving yin and yang so that these two seeming opposites are easier to bridge in your everyday life. That you don't have to overcome yourself to be active or overcome other parts of you to rest. And all these different aspects and qualities are just there up for grabs whenever you need them. And you can flow through them equally. And an embrace of the beauty of nature and the nature within us. Taking 3 more deep breaths here to slowly come out. Perhaps taking a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth to let go. Good, and then we'll slowly press ourselves back up. Take your time getting out of these longer holds, perhaps leaning back, slowly bringing the legs together, shaking it out, windshield wiper, anything you need to come back. And without much ado, we're going to lie down in Shavasana. Adding any extra layers, blankets, socks. And then taking up enough room, space on your back. So that your tissues can really start to open up. If your lower back feels a bit tender lying flat, you can always bend the knees, allow the knees to fall into one another. Perhaps taking another deep breath in. Deep breath out. And today I'm going to leave you here. You can stay there as long as you like. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe a little nap. Then I'm going to close the space here. Thanking you for your practice and wishing you a wonderful Shavasana.